It is Tuesday. That means we're back talking Nebraska football with all of you here at the Voice of College Football. Lock it in for the next hour. And Justin and myself will bring you Nebraska football talk. And we will, of course, be checking out that chat, bring the comments and questions. Also, recommendations, suggestions, requests that you have on content going forward during the off season. This is Huskers Live. Number 157, Justin Adams here from Cheesy Corn Sports. Also, the Big Ten Show channel. Did I get that right?
Yes, the Big Ten Show. Big Ten Show channel.
That's it.
Whatever.
And then, of course, post-game host and content creator here at the Voice of College Football, GBR. Justin, how you doing tonight?
I am doing well, feeling much better than I did last week. So that's good. And I got over my sickness, got my girl sick, so I've been dealing with that, but she's feeling better now. So ready to rock and roll this week, refreshed. So
I was all set to run to the gym after we get done here. My shoulders are aching though.
That is never going to go away, unfortunately. The more you're in the gym, the more your shoulders are probably going to ache you.
Okay. Well,
wear and tear type of thing with the shoulders. Unless
my shoulders usually don't ache like they are right now. I don't know where that's coming from. Maybe it's from my home workout last night that was upper body related. So maybe I'll just go and work on the core. That's what I'm going to go do.
Definitely avoid that. A common misconception. People think, what a sore muscle is basically your muscle needs tears, small muscle fiber tears to grow. So that's what soreness is. You tear those muscle fibers because you're doing something your body's not used to. Your body's going to grow back, and those muscle fibers are going to grow back a little bit bigger that next time, so they're able to handle the workload. So just a small little fun fact there about soreness. It's a very good thing to have.
Yeah, soreness, yes. I don't know if this pain is so great.
That's the thing. It's depending on if it's an injury soreness or a muscle ache soreness. So
yeah, I don't think it's anything serious at all, but it's not soreness. They're not sore. But if I feel the individual muscles, yes, soreness, but the overall ache in the shoulders, I don't like.
Ice and rest. Yeah, it's wear and tear. The 90% of men hit rotator cuff issues at some point, just as a wear and tear thing over time, unfortunately.
All right. Good conversation to get us started here. I feel so much better about my physical condition now.
Hey, everybody needs to know a little bit.
All right, folks, as we mentioned here, yes, we are producing better and better content thanks to Justin, and we are determined to deliver here at the Voice of College Football. So if you've got any content suggestions for us, requests, certainly let us know. Because even though there aren't any necessarily big splashes going on in the last week or so, there is still some things simmering under the surface where Matt Rule and his coaching staff are out there making some moves and managing the roster right now.
Yep. Yeah, it's one of those things where we've talked about this time and time again in this offseason. Numbers were over, numbers have been over, and, it's not clearing up. There's a little bit of a roster churn, with Ethan Piper moving off of the roster officially. So Ethan Piper's out, and there is conversations of potentially, I'm not sure. It checks out with the way Matt Rule operates, but there's conversations with Ethan Piper maybe eventually joining the staff, probably a graduate assistant, maybe something like that eventually. But so Ethan Piper officially off the roster. Ruquan Buckley, can officially, they made the change at the end of the season, but officially moved from D-line to O-line. So just a big body in there. And then overall, just getting these numbers down is that's the big question is how it's going to be able to get these to under 85. I was talking to you a little bit about before the show about the options, because I remember there being gray shirt, blue shirt, the whole nine to kind of get around some of this stuff, delaying enrollments to where they don't count until the next semester or the next season against the roster. So it'd be very interesting to see how they do that. But because of that, not a big signing day coming up here around the corner. Mentioned a couple of those people last week, but really turning the page and looking forward to the 2025 and 2026 recruiting class based on a lot of what the staff is getting out there and doing this week. Seeing them still get out there and get some big fish and stuff like that, or go after some big fish, and they're coming out of the gates hot. And it's all hands on deck for recruiting, as it's been this whole time. So yeah, man, it's exciting to see them getting out on their trail and just see they're hitting Texas hard. That's one of the pipeline states we lost a long time ago, and it's one of the biggest talent producers and one of the states that we need to stay in, and that's where Matt Rule's been. So
it's funny you say that. That's exactly the comment I was about to make as soon as you got done, is that a lot of the conversation about what was lost moving to the Big Ten centers around recruiting Texas, and just the complete different look of where the program sits nationally on the map, and
yep.
the teams and the programs that it's connected to. And it very much went from being at home in the Big 8/Big 12, and Texas very much, and all the schools there being part of those rivalries and those attachments to Nebraska, to being completely detached. And now where do you go for players? And now you bring in Matt Rule, who then was able to build those relationships in Texas, started to build something there at Baylor. And is he going to be able to resurrect that pipeline?
Well, that's very good question, because one of the first things that Matt Rule did that kind of flew under the radar in the national landscape was he hired a lot of guys to some staff positions that aren't necessarily, big name positions, but what these guys were, I believe Garrett McGuire himself is out of Texas, but a lot of these guys were high school coaches in Texas, or had a lot of connections to big name high school coaches in Texas. And he brought those guys onto, lower level staff positions, or just working in some capacity with those Texas, contacts. And the biggest thing when we moved from the Big 12 was losing that pipeline to Texas. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why Rule knew that, like, hey, this is going to be a strength for me, because not only do I have a school that has recruited heavy in the state of Texas before, but also a school that has recruited heavy in the state of Texas that has a lot of resources, more resources than he had at Baylor. So he knew that we needed to recruit there. He's been, the most offers for 25 and 26 have been to the state of Texas and the state of Florida. Those are the two biggest producers of talent in the NFL. And, it's no secret that he sees that, and he saw that from the outside looking in, just as we did. And that's why he's out there recruiting heavy. Like I said, he's got those connections built and started building them day one, and getting guys that are boots on the ground in Texas. And that is why he's been so successful there. Big contingent of our 24 class is out of the state of Texas. I believe it may be Nebraska, then Texas, then Florida, or, Texas, Florida, Nebraska. I can't remember quite the order, but those are the top three states. And another thing that we did lose over the course of time was, really securing the 500-mile radius. And that's another thing that he seemed to have a big focus on, is that 500-mile radius. But can't understate the importance of the state of Texas. The talent there is undeniable, and talent breeds competition. Competition breeds excellence. That's why you get a lot of these guys that come out of there successful, because they're playing against other top tier guys. So exciting to see, and a big potential 2025 guy that they went and visited, that we'll get into here a little later. But yeah, he's definitely putting in the work, the groundwork now to lay that foundation to build that pipeline back up.
So with the transfer portal going 30 days after it wasn't necessarily 30 days after the regular season, but at whatever point the transfer portal was supposed to end, then it gets extended by the Nick Saban retirement that bounced off the Washington opening, Arizona, San Jose State. So now we're seeing, especially the first two stops, Alabama lost a ton of players. Washington has probably lost more players. At least it looks like it. I've not checked the numbers recently. The last I saw, it was like 23 players left Washington. Do you think that the sheer numbers game is keeping Nebraska out of making any kind of pursuits at two high-level programs that are losing players, and then off of those two openings, obviously, then Arizona opens up and they lose a bundle of players as well. But it doesn't seem like Nebraska has been in the talk for any of these guys. And do you just think that's roster management issues?
Yeah, it very well could be a combination of a number of things. I firmly believe that I think Matt Rule and staff, if they had a guy who they liked, was a 4-star guy, and they felt that there wasn't room on the roster, you got to think they would still take him and then figure that out, because there's probably somebody on the roster that may be filling up a spot that they could take in talent wise, So I think there's a little bit of truth to that based on they can't go after as many people as they would like, and that's probably keeping them out of this. But I also think at the same time too, Matt Rule is very, very big on his relationship building. He's very big on the type of player he wants. And I feel like if there was a potential player in those, classes that interest him, or he had previously had contact with, maybe previously recruited, that he would go after him. But I think right now his focus is on, not changing up what he's doing. I think he's really focused on worried about the numbers we got, because he did mention before that he expected more people to leave. So I do know that threw a late curveball in the plan, because you had to think they had to have planned ahead for this. But I also think, like, just based on a lot of what, Matt Rule's gotten in this portal class, I think he really likes what he's gotten. And I think right now it's just he's back on the recruiting trail, because I don't think that's something that's ever going to go away from what he does, no matter how big, the transfer portal gets, NIL gets. He still always swears by recruiting that base and that core. And I think that's what his focus is on right now. So, yeah, it could be a number of things, but I still think that if he liked one of those guys, he would still probably try to bring them in. So
I am probably preaching to the choir, but Justin has churned out some nice content here in the last couple of weeks. So check it out right here at the Voice of College Football, right on the main channel. Folks, if you have contacts out there in social media, so every Tuesday I get out on a couple Nebraska Facebook groups and just let them know, hey, Tuesday's the night. We're here taking your comments and questions. So if you've got connections out there through Twitter, through Reddit, through Facebook, Instagram, whatever that might be, reaching some people and some audiences that we don't have access to, we would appreciate that, just to let people know that they can talk Nebraska football with us every Tuesday at 6 Central.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, we need the more the merrier here. Join the conversation. Let's get it rocking and rolling, and so we can roll into the season winning.
For sure. When is the next Big Ten show get together?
So we actually just due to me kind of being a little bit out of it last week, we finally got another episode up today going over the Iowa Hawkeyes. So a Nebraska fan with an Iowa fan with an Illinois fan going over Iowa. So yeah, a lot to like there. But yeah, so that was posted earlier today. So got that up and rolling, and then we'll get some Nebraska stuff up there eventually. But stay tuned for that here first.
And if you guys want more on Tuesday nights, you can always join us over on the Hawkeye show that we do just about an hour and a half before we talk it up here with Justin. So we've got our Iowa live show over on the Iowa Voice of College Football channel. That's at 4:30 Central. So an hour and a half, then you got a half hour to get something to eat. And then you join Justin and myself here. And I believe Justin and I have determined that, we're going to start a series here. We're going to break down position by position, get you set for spring practice. So we'll get that revved up next week. So we will surprise you with our position choice number 1, and we'll go through various rankings, stats, the whole deal, and projections on who's going to contribute and what that unit's going to look like.
Yep. And one more thing too, John Diadamo, y'all see him in the comments. So he does the Ocho on the main channel, Mark Rogers channel. So me and John Johnston from Corn Nation were on there yesterday. So if y'all do want to check that out, after the fact, y'all can go back and watch that. That was a fun conversation. So yeah.
So, folks, basically, when you take it all in, we're throwing a lot of different shows and days and times at you. You know what you can do? When you are locked in on the main channel, what I do every morning is I post a complete lineup for that day. So that directs you to all the various channels and the shows on those channels. So, for example, tonight we've got a Big 12 show that starts in about 20 minutes over in the Big 12 channel. Then we've got John's show, as you see on the banner here, the Michigan Wolverines live show that's going to follow us. So you can follow us directly from here on over to the Michigan channel with John at 8 o'clock Eastern time. Then we've got an Oregon Ducks live show that's on at 10:30 Eastern over on the Oregon channel. But don't expect you to remember that. That's why we post on the community page the complete lineup every day.
Yep, a lot of good stuff, and yeah, it is a lot of content, but it keeps me entertained all day, so I'll take it.
Nice. All right, folks. So you mentioned something concerning Satterfield before we came on.
Yeah.
And is that basically just he accompanying Matt Rule in Missouri and Texas this week?
So essentially, the way it's been broken down, it seems this past week is Matt Rule is out with Garrett McGuire in Texas, our wide receivers coach, and they are, they're putting the big press on a couple guys, and the rest of the staff is kind of putting the full court press on some guys in Missouri and stuff like that. So over in Texas, I know that Rule and McGuire were out there visiting Michael Terry, who we'll get into just a second. He's the big one that I want to talk about. Zay Gentry from McKinney, Texas. He is a cornerback, 6'1", 165, very rangy, lengthy guy, 88 rated 3-star right now. So he's in the class 2025. So they're out there visiting a couple of these guys. The biggest one, though, Michael Terry. Looking at Michael Terry's film and just he fits perfectly. So he's the number one athlete, according to 24/7, number one pure athlete in the state of Texas. We've talked about it a million times. The style of offense, the positionless style, the 49ers style of offense that Matt Rule always talks about and Satterfield always talks about, and they've always used. So Michael Terry is the exact type of athlete, and like when you talk about just pure athleticism that they want. Like I said, he's the number one athlete, multiple positions, play wide receiver, running back, kick returner, punt returner. It's one of those film tapes that you watch and you're like, okay, this guy's just a level above everybody else, bigger, faster, more physical. But also, like I've talked about time and time again, a lot of the videos and stuff like that, not only do they like, multi-sport type of guys, but they like athletic lineages and multi-sport type of guys because, Matt Rule's old adage, you can have a ceiling for athleticism, but you can always develop more skills. So this guy's, track and field, they'll have his times on 24/7, but 100 meter, 200 meter, 400 meter, high jump, there's even parts on his film where he's running out of the Wildcat. And so he's the type of offensive weapon, this Swiss Army knife type of offensive weapon that Nebraska needs is just a playmaker. Right now, Nebraska doesn't seem to have a game-breaking, just pure playmaker. Now, Isaiah Nayer can potentially be that, right? But outside of that, they're going to want to recruit somebody who can also come in and be that type of guy. If they were able to land a guy like, a Michael Terry eventually, who is probably for all intents and purposes going to end up being a 5-star at some point, I would imagine, depending on how that goes. The rankings have been a point of contention this week in the Husker fan base. But he's the type of guy that they are going to want to land, and he's going to be the type of guy that can headline this class. So very excited for them to get out there and get a guy of visit a guy of his caliber. And it's even more so the reason, like we talked about earlier, with losing Texas as a pipeline. I think that's one of the biggest reasons that Rule's like, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to head off this front out here in Texas. And then, he's got guys on the staff like Ethan Cooper, who specialize in the state of Florida, and he's sending guys like Ethan Cooper out there to the state of Florida. He very methodical in how he does this, but yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see how this plays out with Zay and Michael Terry. But another thing too, they met a kid. We talked about their camps before, in the junior camp and the elite camp. So Matt Rule had mentioned in that camp that what he uses those for is he likes to get guys onto campus so that way they can start building connections with them. And then from there, they like to schedule the visits. And then from there, they like to, distribute, the offers and go from there and put the press on whoever. Well, I talked about that last week, and that actually came to fruition this week it was a walk-on tight end, but Danny King, tight end, 6'4", 230, not rated. He's out of the state of Minnesota, but he's a guy that, was at a satellite camp in Texas. He came out to a camp months later, and then he got a preferred walk-on offer, and he wanted to play there, and he had scholarship offers from other places, but came here as a preferred walk-on. Big body guy, really good route runner, can play the outside. Another multi-position type of guy, but just a couple flaws. Lets the body get into his chest a little bit too much, tries to catch with his body, but those type of things he can refine. Again, big body tight end. Satterfield likes to use his tight ends, likes to use multiple tight ends, as you can see with Fedoni, with Carter Nelson, and now with Danny King, and then the guys that they're recruiting in the next classes. Uber athletic, very large body tight ends, but they're all tight ends that can run routes really well and double as receiver and play other spots in the field. So, yep, it's exciting to see this versatility. But whenever they were, when he was talking with Satterfield, and he said Satterfield kind of showed him a glimpse of the player that he could become one day. And so another good thing to take into account is what these guys are kind of saying after they commit or in the process of making their decision. And he said another vision for the offense, kind of positionless, so they're targeting guys like me that can do a lot of things. I can put my hand in the dirt, I can split out wide, or I can go in motion. So it's definitely something that influenced my decision. So that was whenever that was a quote I saw whenever they interviewed him on that. So the last couple of guys that we've had that have landed in here have specifically mentioned the staff first and foremost, and this is no exception to that. And all three of them have also mentioned Satterfield specifically, who was one of the guys that probably took the most heat coming off of the previous season, just based on the offensive performance. But a lot of these guys like him. A lot of these guys like what his offense is doing, and that's why a lot of these guys are interested in Nebraska. So a lot to like here, amongst the smoke and everything else around the performance last year. But there's a ton to like on the recruiting trail based on what we've seen in previous years.
I have been scurrying for stats on Danny King, haven't come up with anything. But when it comes to Michael Terry, every time I see this athlete category, I would love if these sites, for as much as they give you everything they deliver, which is amazing, all of these recruiting sites. I did a breakdown the other day over at the main channel, and not too many people found this video, but I did a breakdown. I went through the top 500 players in the country and went through to see who hasn't signed yet, to see, although most of them are hard commits.
Yep.
And so there shouldn't be a surprise on National Signing Day next Wednesday. There are a few out there that there's probably about a dozen to 15 out of the top 500, maybe more than that, that haven't signed yet. And a few of them have no commits yet. So I just wanted to run down and see who's out there. But every time I see that athlete designation, I'm then digging for further information to see where this guy played on both sides of the ball, where he's projected to be, because sometimes it's just a complete toss-up. Like, he could play wide receiver, he could play cornerback, but most of the time there's a lean that he's projected a defensive back in college, not a wide receiver, even though because of high school being high school, he was a really good wide receiver.
Yep.
So I'm looking at Michael Terry, and so where do you think the projection is there?
So with Michael Terry, he's probably, it seems like he had a lot more rushing yards. You know, he had 90 rushing attempts, 31 receptions, 806 rushing yards, 436 receiving yards, 14 rush touchdowns, 7. So it seems like he's going to majority be kind of a probably a receiving option, but I think just in the terms of the type of player he is, they're going to do whatever they can to get their ball in his hands. So I would imagine it could be even a type of thing where it's they try to get him the ball on short hitting little routes too. Because that is part of some of these offenses now, some of the run games, and it's part of the West Coast style. It's some of these short passing games kind of helps establish the run game too. So I think they're going to mix in a little bit of everything. I think they're going to move him around. It's truly when they say athlete, I think it fits this team just because it's truly positionless. But I think the wide receiver depth might be something that potentially is corrected by the time he comes up, because as it currently sits, if he was like a transfer coming in, I'd say he's definitely going to play wide receiver just because of the depth issues. But I think by then he'll probably truly be able to come in and play wherever they want him. But I think he's going to probably primarily play like a slot receiver role and occasionally slide in the running back, because you got to think Dante Dowdle is going to be the running back primarily. So I would imagine he's going to be some kind of playmaking type of receiver that occasionally rotates into the backfield.
Good stuff. Appreciate all your support here at the Voice of College Football. We talk Huskers every Tuesday. And again, we are so happy to be joined by Justin. He has energized us here in the last couple months here, joining the Tuesday show, all the great content he provides. So follow him on Twitter. You will see the Twitter handle here in just a second. And of course, Justin's posting content throughout the week here and then over on the Big Ten Show channel. So it's the Big Ten Show right here on YouTube.
Yep. Go ahead. Sorry. No. I was going to say too, just a couple more players to keep an eye out. I didn't touch on this when we were talking about Missouri, but Corey Sims, 4-star athlete out of Missouri. They posted on Twitter earlier. He posted on Twitter earlier that Matt Rule and staff were out to see him. He said on Twitter, it felt good to have the University of Nebraska head coach Rule and his entire offensive staff make me a priority by paying my parents and I a personal visit today. So even in his tweet, he mentioned that the entire staff being out there meant a lot to him too. So there's him there, Ryman Zebert. I don't know. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Zebert. Satterfield, Glenn Thomas went out to see him. And then looking forward quarterback wise, because I know a lot of people are very interested because our quarterback room's lack of experience and the lack of depth there. They also went out and saw 2025 QB Dylan Duff. He's an 85 overall. Dual sport, also played basketball. So another one of those dual sport guys that they like out there. And then this is just the Twitter sphere, doing what the Twitter sphere does. But Cortez Mills, big wide receiver target out of Homestead, Florida in the 2025 class, 6'1", 170, one of the top receivers out of the state of Florida. That should tell you how good he is. But he had a 7-on-7 clip and he was wearing the Nebraska gloves. So just got a visit by Kirby Smart. So there's, maybe it's another one of those instances where Nebraska can pluck another Georgia, another Georgia kid. But he was also recently visited by Matt Rule, I believe, yesterday, the day before. So pretty cool nugget to see there. He was wearing the Husker gloves. Maybe that's a good sign. But
well, I got to guess that it's a good sign for some of these guys. I think that that might show you a little bit of a lean, but with a lot of them, it's just they like brand new gear. Just hey, it's new gear, it's new swag. I'll wear it today. It's cool. I'll put it in the room somewhere, and we'll keep moving on. And the next school that gives me brand new gloves, then there we go. We'll wear those.
That's actually what I was thinking. I was like, it's probably just because they visited him a couple of days ago, and there's brand new gloves you got, man. Come on, you got to rock them.
Justin, I got to follow up on something you said a few minutes ago.
Oh,
because for years and years and years and years, we do our Miami show, So another shameless plug, everyone. Wednesday
Yeah.
night, 7 o'clock Eastern time, the Miami channel, our Miami show.
Yep.
And our guy Cam Underwood there, he is notoriously for saying, and he's a big recruiting guy, legit recruiting guy. He's worked for recruiting services, been saying for years. And I always just kind of slightly roll my eyes when he says this. He just thinks the recruiting services have it out for Miami. If it's a Miami recruit, if they signed him, if they got a commit out of him, then they're going to bump him down.
Yeah.
Florida State guys, shameless plug, Florida State, 6 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday. I love my Florida State guys. Same thing. Tell me all the time. Well, that guy would have gone to Georgia or Ohio State, they'd be making him a 5-star, but he signed to Florida State. He committed to Florida State, so they knocked him down. Okay. I roll my eyes there. I don't know. There could be something to it. I don't know. I don't follow up on it. I just don't understand why. The only politics that I could understand weighing into these rankings would be that to spur on interest in keeping up with the rankings, looking at them, tracking them, that these services wouldn't want the number one player in America to be committed very early. To say, I'm committed, I've got a full year and a half before, and so that they would want just more conjecture, more rumors, more churn, and clicks among the top players in the country, just that they would have that incentive to weigh down some people that have committed, regardless of where they commit.
Yeah.
So it sounded like you thought maybe there was a slight against Nebraska.
So all right. So the fan base in general thinks there's a slide against Nebraska. I'm on the opposite side of the fence.
Okay.
So to address your concerns there, I am on the opposite side of the fence. I don't think there's a conspiracy. I think very much so that these ranking services, there is a issue in there. We have seen it before where that one guy, he wasn't even a collegiate player, yet somehow, I don't know whether he tweeted offers or something like that, he got himself ranked on 24/7. I'll have to find that story for you, but there was somebody who did that. It was a fake prospect and got rated as like a 3-star or something like that. Okay. I do think there are things that, let's say if the guy is unranked, and he commits to a school like Nebraska, sometimes it happens to where that person will then get a star ranking, right? However, I think this whole thing that right now it's going on with Raiola, because there's so many recruiting services out there, right? And so it was just, people typically go with the higher ranking when they're putting out like, hey, just in general, this person committed to this school. So, it'd be like 5-star number 1 overall QB in the class, Dylan Raiola. But then you go look on 3 and they got him ranked as like the 77th ranked player, or I think, which is where he was most recently, or they had him ranked as like the 44th player at a certain point. And so then people start questioning, okay, so did On3, why did On3 drop him? And then On3 is actually arguing with our fan base currently in forums about it, and arguing like, no, we didn't do that, this, that, and the third. So this is an actually argument going on in Nebraska forums right now with the people who make the rankings. So essentially what it is I think that no matter what, who quite frankly cares, because at the end of the day, Raiola, regardless of where he's at, so you see there on the industry ranks, now scroll down to where it shows all the rankings, and look how much lower On3 has them compared to the rest. And that's what people are pointing out, because they have them as 71st nationally. And that used to not be the case, but they're claiming they did it before he even switched to Nebraska. But I digress. I did see something that it does look like they have knocked him down since he committed to us. However, I don't know if it's necessarily conspiracy. I don't think it is, nor do I care. I think that's the biggest thing. I couldn't care less, regardless of whether where they have him ranked right now. Dylan Raiola is going to be Dylan Raiola, and he's going to be the same Dylan Raiola when he comes to the University of Nebraska. So this stuff to me is like, we care about this now because it's all we have to care about right now are these little things. But over the course of time, I don't think it matters. There are little nuances to recruiting rankings that change things. Like I've mentioned before, I spoke with a guy a long time ago who worked with one of these recruiting services. I can't quite remember which one it was, but he had told me that stuff as little as just visibility in camps can go a long way to bumping them up and a star completely. And that's what I believe happened with Fedoni. I feel like Fedoni was a 5-star caliber guy. I think he might have even been at one point, but he didn't go to the camps as frequently as some of the other guys got dropped down or whatever. So I personally don't think it's a conspiracy. I do think there is a little bit of a correlation doesn't necessarily equal causation, but sometimes there are some weird coincidences in these rankings and the way they drop them. But I don't think it's a conspiracy or anything like that.
So I generally agree with you that it shouldn't matter. If you suddenly ranked Dylan Raiola as the 500th best player in the country, he's still the same guy. He should still have the same mindset, walk on campus, get the job, do my thing, show that I'm as good as I am.
Yep.
But if there are certain rankings that are perpetuated by business and policies and politics, and when I say politics, I think we understand what I'm talking about, not traditional American politics within the industry, that it can drive a narrative that would cause an advantage or disadvantage. Meaning, let's say if I'm just picking a school, Georgia doesn't truly have, if they were being objective, the best class in the country.
Yep.
But they were just driving a narrative for whatever reason. And they would normally have Georgia 7th. They're putting them number 1. That the artificially pumped ranking would cause other high school players to look at Georgia more so than they normally would. Or would look at somebody else less because they're ranked 10 spots lower than they really should be.
Right.
That's the only issue I have with it.
I think if it becomes something where it's like it happens to a large contingent of your class, then you probably got a big gripe. With this instance, and two, like, again, who knows? They very well may do that. They very well, like Bone Lake Cornfed right there. Good point. They have knocked him down since he committed to us, because they knocked him down, but then they've knocked him down again since. But maybe more so than the fact that I don't think there's a conspiracy there. Maybe it's just more so that I don't care. I don't necessarily think that they do it as they may. If they do it, I think they may do it to certain players here and there, but I don't think it's anything that they would do it to the point where it's that noticeable to where, people could literally point it out and be like, but Nebraska fans have pointed out some weird coincidences and they've had not have good arguments to come back with it. So I don't know if it's a little bit more of, I don't know if it's happening. I don't care, but I think it's in the middle of both. I think it's happening, but I think it's to a lesser degree and extent than people realize. So that's why I guess but to your point, if it was affecting the recruiting classes that heavily, it definitely would matter. Especially with the news, the way they run the news with these recruits and the way these recruits are on social media and they see this stuff, like, that does have an impact. That does have a big impact on a lot of these players. So, yeah, it's something, but I'm glad at least that they are being, like, at least checked on it so they know that people are paying attention. That's the biggest thing, is like, now they know that they need to be very careful if they do try to pull stuff like that.
Folks, we appreciate everyone who shops on Amazon using the link in the description section. So if you grab the link that says Amazon in the description section of any of the videos, and you use that, then that brings a portion of that to the Voice of College Football. So we appreciate that. And just keep in mind, it's the same shopping experience for you. So you're not going to notice any difference. If you do, let me know, but nobody ever has. Everybody has said, hey, it's exactly the same shopping experience as using the link that I used before. So you might as well use our link, and then we get a cut from Amazon. You might as well not send them the full whatever amount. I refrain from using an amount because then people get confused and then they contact me and go, "Oh, you mean I got to spend $100?" No, you don't have to spend any certain particular amount of money. So it's just an example. Like if you spend $100, we'll get like $3.
Yeah.
So that's better than Amazon gets all 100 because they're already worth like $2 trillion.
Yeah. I
So
worked for
support
them.
us
They
here at
don't
the
need
Voice
it.
of College Football. Yeah.
I worked for them. They don't need it. They don't need it. Trust me.
So yeah, you use that Amazon link. It doesn't cost you a penny, and it's the same shopping experience. And we've got that link in every video.
Yep. One thing, Mark, do you mind if I point something out real quick?
No, go to it.
Never mind me. Big supporter of the channel. In my post games a lot, comments on the videos. So it's his birthday. So I just figured we'd try to get everybody in the chat to tell him happy birthday. So a couple people already have, but just a little something for him in the chat if y'all want to drop him a happy birthday, and appreciate your support, man. So thanks for being with the channel.
Never mind me. Happy birthday.
Yes, sir. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. I was afraid you were going to have us sing for a second.
No, none of that. None of that. I'm sorry.
If we could hear everyone on the chat,
that's
like
what I'm saying.
if we would be able to all chime in and sing, and it could drown me out and all the other bad singers, then that would be okay. But I don't think you want to hear Justin and I sing, unless Justin, maybe you got a great speaking voice.
I'm a singer. I've been singing my whole life.
You're a singer.
Yeah, I've been singing my whole life.
You can give us a line of happy birthday then, right?
No, not on the spot like that.
It's a familiar tune.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know if I could pull it off. I'm saying happy birthday. All right, if y'all get us some likes, I'll sing happy birthday. I'm just gonna sing the first part. I'm just gonna say happy birthday to you. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm looking forward to it. How many likes do we need?
All of them. I don't even know. 50.
50 likes.
Get us to 50.
All right, 50 likes, and we get to hear Justin sing. I've sung a couple times on the shows. Nobody requested it, but I can kind of do what I want.
100 likes, Mark sings. How's that?
No. You're a singer.
No, that YouTube might give me for copyright infringement. No, I'm just kidding. Y'all get us 50 likes, I'll do it.
I'm checking on the likes now.
All right, never mind.
We're at 25.
Oh yeah, okay, cool.
Unfortunately, I can like my own video, so there we go. 26.
Yeah, if you I was gonna say, like, never mind. They won't know where to find my music. I have a YouTube channel called Justin Adams Music, and I literally, when I was overseas, I sang a couple songs into my webcam in my barracks room and just posted them. And they're still on that from like 12 years ago. I look like a baby. I look like a child, but it's still funny.
That's funny. So that's on a YouTube channel.
He said drop my SoundCloud. I was like, well, I was gonna tell him that one, but they ain't no way they're finding that channel. It's my Justin Adams Music channel. But those are so old, dude. Just get us to 50 likes and you can hear it right now.
Free advertising, Justin. Why not?
Justin Adams Music 409.
Okay.
There you go. And they're like old as all hell, but get us to 50 likes and you'll hear it.
Awesome. Can't wait to see it.
And then, Jose, drop your SoundCloud, brother. That's funny. And then another thing here, I wanted to see this. I saw Jose said the recruiting service said it was because he wasn't as dependable and wasn't answering his phone. If there's any truth to that, that seems a little wild. That they would knock him down because he's not answering his phone. Do you know it? Do you have any like insight into that at all? If that factors in at all?
It better not factor in. We're supposed to be getting an evaluation of how athletic these guys are.
Yeah.
Their potential. That's what it's supposed to be. More so even than their high school production. It's about their
Oh.
potential as an athlete.
They said that's why. Okay, he said they might be knocking him down like they did the number one commit last year. Okay, so they said that's why they knocked that guy down last year, which is crazy, which is absolutely crazy to me. Yeah, that was so that right there to me shows that if they did come out and say that, there's some practices there that aren't truly sort I'm looking for, I guess.
They're not
Transparent.
above board.
They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're not
Yes,
transparent in what we're
there's
actually getting, which is
there's a lack of integrity there. If
Yeah.
in fact that's what's going on.
Yeah. And so, yeah, with that being said, though, it's like I said, I just think we're focusing on it right now. But the other thing here it is. I was finding this one from earlier. This the player said he committed to Colorado, immediately fell for it. Colorado hadn't talked to him. Second time he tried it, the staff said. So that one actually happened too. That was another one along with the 24/7. I'm going to send you the 24/7 article about the guy who tricked the ranking system into ranking him. I'm surprised you didn't see that.
I love to hear stuff like that. It's like the group of people, I don't know who this was, but that put together the fake high school football team.
Oh, yeah.
About
I
3,
do.
4 years ago, they got to play on ESPN.
Yeah, and they
Like
got
this
their doors
online
blown
high
off.
school.
They got their doors blown off completely.
Yes. What was the name of them?
Oh my god.
They were out of like
blank on it.
Pennsylvania, supposedly.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on that, man. Oh, I completely forgot about that. Yeah, no, then they made it on ESPN, got the doors blown off, and then turns out like the address came back to some random plot of land or something. I don't remember.
Yeah,
Like
they
it
had some
was,
kind of Indian name. And
and then we're sitting here trying to figure out what makes these guys tick. And people have built whole fake high school football team. Bishop Sycamore, yeah, that's it. Entire high school football programs have been created under the radar with nobody catching on. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some sleight of hands behind the scene going on, some money exchanges going on in these recruiting rankings either. That's another thing to factor in. At what point where there's money, there's corruption. At what point does that start to happen? Where maybe they're getting a little extra, we'll throw you a little NIL money if you move us up those rankings a little bit, might be starting conspiracies here, but that's all the more reason why I feel like these recruiting rankings and the movements in them are probably just going to be like no rhyme or reason. Let's just hope for the best and hope the guys we got are legit.
I don't make things up just to accuse people, but none of that would surprise me.
No. It's just it's the nature of money. It's the same thing with the college football playoff. Why no decision they'll ever make will ever surprise me. It's a business. How many likes do we have, by the way?
We had a burst right after we put out the challenge there. We had a burst from 25 to 32, but I think it's stalled right there.
All right.
Yeah, we're just sitting on 32. Do you guys realize what you're missing?
I'll do it. Where's Never Mind Me at?
Never mind me. Are you listening?
I'm not doing the whole song. I'm singing like a couple words. Give y'all a taste and tell them happy birthday. And then y'all can go watch my videos from
you at least have to
12 years ago.
Sing enough that you're telling him happy birthday.
Well, that's in the first 2 words of the song.
Yes.
So technically I can sing the 4 words and be fun. All right. You want to sing with me?
No, I'm not singing with you. We want to hear you.
All right. Let me turn this down. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear, never mind me. Happy birthday to you.
Nicely done.
I can't really hit any high. I'm butchered the high note because I was trying to think of a name. Never mind me. I was like, never mind.
Well, it's a tough song to sing. You may have started it a bit too high. You could have started maybe a key lower.
Right, here we go.
But that was sweet. That was nice. I'm sure you're getting all sorts of thumbs up here. You're getting a Justin Timberlake comparison.
Appreciate it. Hey, thanks.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, I could not have sang with you. Number one, because I'm not a good singer. Number two, though, I couldn't have hung with all those slides.
Oh, the runs.
Yeah, the runs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thanks, everybody. Yeah, I'm not used to being put on the spot, but got it done. I had to do it though. Never mind me, bro. Never mind me. Supports the channel. I had to do it for him. Have to do it. So if y'all got any birthdays, let me know. We'll make it happen. Make it happen.
We'll be putting out super chat requests for Justin to sing a line or two every week.
Hey, I'll start posting. I'll start posting again. All right. And then I'll drop you a link to that channel. We'll do that. Got to get back into it, but
all right, folks, you got something to look forward to next week. I thought it was going to be the player rankings, the position rankings that we're going to knock out starting next week. And we're going to keep it a mystery what position we're going to start with. But now it might be that Justin's going to sing a line or two every week.
I got it. Let's do it. I'll be prepared this time.
Okay.
So,
all right, yeah, folks, you got about 4 minutes to catch a cold beverage or something, a bathroom break before Michigan Wolverines live with John D'Adamo over on the Michigan channel at 8 Eastern time. Justin, thanks for making it happen as always. Cheesy Corn Sports right here on YouTube, the Big Ten Show channel. So the Big Ten Show, just look that up. You'll be able to find that right here on YouTube as well with Justin and company. And we've got our Big Ten Live show coming up. We'll have to have you on that at some point, Justin. We do our call-in show on Fridays at 7 Eastern.
Okay. Yep. Let's do it.
Next Tuesday, folks. We'll see you back here. Bring a friend or two or 5 or 50 with you.
All of them. All of them.